Hey guys, what's up? This is DeRaze and welcome to my fifth tutorial on Bulma CSS Framework. In this tutorial, we'll be continuing the grid columns which we were talking about in the last video. If you have not checked it out, check it out and come back to this video. So in this video, I'll be talking about the responsiveness of these grid columns. So let's head out to our code immediately. So anyways, over here you can see that I have a division element which is having a class of columns, which is how you create a row, and you give additional columns over here. I have given the background colors over here, two background colors, and so you can see that there is a style tag over here. Nonetheless, a class of column is given for each individual column, and that is why you can see three columns over here. So anyways, so let me just head to the console. Let's check out what we have over here. So once I press F12, we can see that we are getting iPhone 6 over here, iPhone 6 display, and we can even check out iPad display. We can check out any other display as well. So as you can see over here, in general, we are getting the three columns as it is. So what I'm trying to say is that there are columns next to each other, as we have seen on desktop. So sometimes we don't want such design to be the same, like we don't want the website design to be the same as the phone design, because we want a better display of elements on separate devices. So for example, over here, if you see that in our mobile version, we see that the paragraphs are pretty narrow, and that is something which we don't want. So what to do with that is what we will see in this tutorial. So immediately head over to your text editors and follow along, because a practical experience is always better. And let's get started. So over here, as you can see that we have columns as usual. So how you can manipulate these is like this. First, let's also get to know that in general the columns and all that, in general the styling of these responsiveness starts from tablet, but you can also give it for mobile only by specifying ease mobile after columns. So let's start off with the ease desktop specification. What I'm trying to say over here is that if I give a specification called ease desktop, let's see how it changes by refreshing this. Alright, so as you can see over here, we have three columns stacked on each other. What I'm trying to say is that now we have better reading performance. But what happens to the desktop version? Let's find out. Okay, so as you can see, it's beautiful, because we have the columns as it is in the desktop version, but only in the mobile version and the iPad version these changes have been reflected, and that is because we have given the class called ease desktop. So similarly, you can try out various other things. If you give ease mobile or ease tablet, the same things are reflected even in tablet as well as desktop. That is because this forms Bulma is generally mobile first. So whatever you give to the mobile is reflected in the same place, but the opposite is not true. So whatever you give to the desktop does not appear in the so it does not appear in the lower versions, which is the smaller ones. So as you can see, once we give each desktop, it is not the columns are applying to only the desktop version. So similarly, you can give various other settings for these individual columns. You can say that in the last video we have seen that you can set a column to be half size, or you can just say is half. So let's see what happens. So over here you can see that it is occupying half the space, the first column. So once we see F12, we see that it is the same over here as well. But let's say we don't want this in mobile. What we can do is that we can just say is half desktop. So let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, it has gone out of picture, but it has not gone out of picture in the desktop version. These are several ways how you can manipulate the elements according to the device they are displayed on. So you can say is half desktop, and you can go ahead and say over here that it is 1/4. No, let's say is 1/3 for, let's say, desktop. Let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, it is occupying 1/3 of the space, while the other one is not, pushed to the side. But if I go to the console again and if I check, our elements are as it is in the mobile version. So similarly, you can work around various other requirements. You can even say is 7 instead of is half. You can give 7 columns out of the 12 columns. And if you see over here, let me refresh it. So as you can see, 7 columns out of 12 columns are being occupied by this first column. So you can also say is 3 on desktop, and let's see what happens. So as you can see, it is occupying 3 columns out of 12 columns. So similarly, you can give multiple classes for different layouts. So for example, I would say is 7 on columns, but let me remove this first. Let me remove the is desktop parent class, and let's see what happens over here. Is 6 on mobile, or let's say right. So as you can see, if I give is 6 on tablet, you can see that the 6 columns are occupied on the tablet version, and if I go back to my desktop version, it is not. It is only occupying 3 columns out of the 12 provided columns. So there is an issue with the mobile version as of now. So let's see that. Let's see if it gets cleared up in the future. So anyways, going further ahead, I will show that you can also manipulate over here. You can say is 8 columns in the let's say is 5 on tablet. So let's see what happens. So as you can see over here, it is occupying 5 columns only. So the text is also getting modified, while the other division element is just going down in the same size. So these are some quick ways how you can manipulate your data and how you can manipulate the display. I'm sorry, not the data. So, and also we have something called multi-line. So what it is it's simple. So in the previous tutorial, I was showing you that if you increase the number of columns more than 12, they get pushed away. So one way around that would be to work with multi-line. So I'll quickly show you what it is. First, let me give it 5 columns on desktop. So let's see what happens. So as you can see over here, there is a scroll bar appearing, but sorry, there's no scroll bar appearing, and the text is going on the side. So how you can work around with that is that you can give a class for the parent element called is multi-line, and what happens is that it is found in the bottom. This happens so that you don't miss the information. So what it does is that if it is crossing the 12 mark, the mark of the 12 columns, it immediately sends it down. So let's see what happens in the console version. So over here also you can see that it is going down, and thankfully that is due to the is multi-line setting. So you can also set several other things. So you can say that it is let's say is 10 on tablet. So let's see what happens. Right, so as you can see, it is occupying 10 columns. You can say is offset 2 on tablet. So let's see if that works. Alright, so as you can see, it is working pretty fine. So if I give it an offset of 1, it will get centered, because naturally we are giving giving 1 offset, and it occupies 10 columns on its own. So that's pretty much about it, guys. Alright, so I also have something called gapless and narrow. I'll quickly talk about them as well. So if at all we have these, for example, we have these division elements, they're occupying certain space, and if I say let me just type out if is gapless. So let's see what happens. So as you can see over here, the padding is all gone, the gaps are all given away. So that is what happens with this particular option. So if at all you give the is gapless version, you will see that this is what is happening. So all the gaps are lost, and even we can see that even the offset is lost over here. So there is also something called narrow. So if at all you specify that a column is narrowed, while gapless is for the parent class, you can also say is narrow over here, and let's see what happens. Alright, so as you can see, we will generally get the column to be narrow. The second column has to be narrow, and if at all I give it to something else, and it'll in general appear on a single line. So there is an issue with this as well, is what I believe. So let's see that it gets corrected in the future, since the framework is still in development. So that's it guys for this video. So that's it about the grid columns. So I'll be talking about tiles and various other things in the coming up videos. So stay tuned to this series, and also subscribe to the video channel and share the videos with your friends so that they also learn this amazing CSS framework. And also give it a like, and also tell your friends about it. Thanks a lot guys, thanks a lot for listening and watching. So go ahead and keep practicing and get better at this. Alright guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.